All flights are now boarding. Welcome to Indie Game International.
Welcome to the podcast. I am here today with Davide Pellino of DP Games. That's what you're called, correct?
Yes, correct.
All right, Davide, how are you today?
I'm fine, thanks.
And
how are you doing?
I'm very well. Where are you based?
I'm in Italy, south of Italy, near Naples.
Okay, that sounds wonderful. Is it nice there?
Oh, it's really nice. Not today. It's just a crazy winter. We are having storms and everything, but that's nice.
Very cool. Okay, so we are here to discuss Summertime Madness, a game that you put out, I believe, in June of this year?
Yes.
Awesome. And is it your first game?
First game developed as solo developer, pretty much. We are just 2-3 guys.
Okay. Why don't you give us the elevator pitch for what is Summertime Madness?
Oh, Summertime Madness is that kind of game you can do when you are alone with no budget and really desperate to make a game. That's the real elevator pitch.
Okay.
It's okay. 30s. It's a first-person exploration game, puzzle game. You are a painter which has made a deal with the devil, and now is trapped inside one of his canvas. And you have 6 hours to find your way back home, or until midnight, your soul will be trapped forever in the canvas.
Okay. This is the game itself. I love first-person puzzle games, by the way. So I was very excited to realize that this is the game you made when Nicola Piova-san called you out. I didn't know that it existed, so I was very happy to find it. What is the connection? Because what you say there is very interesting, right? It's about a guy who gets trapped in his painting and he has to get out. What is when the game starts, there's a very dark, war-torn tone to it, but it doesn't seem to. Is that a big part of the game inside the painting?
I really guess I wanted, to have this contrast between reality, where the painters live. So it's Prague, it's 1945, there's war, it's pitch black, it's everything evil you can imagine. Then we have his creation, which are bright and colorful. So there must be a reason for these two worlds to collide. If there were terrible paintings and terrible war outside, just the same thing. No reason to jump into one canvas. So I really wanted to have this contrast between reality and imagination, which is something pretty common, I'd say.
Okay, that's fascinating. It's a very interesting answer. So I'm wondering, you just mentioned this is your first solo game?
Yeah.
So what did you work on previously, and in what capacity?
Yeah, I've been working as 3D artist, pretty much doing a little bit of everything: modeling, texturing, rendering, lighting, whatever is 3D, I'm fine with that. And over the last 2 years, I've been working on Encodia with Nicola. Thanks, Nicola, for having named me out. And before that, I worked on Dark, which was a great experience. I don't know if you have played it. It's this crazy Tim Burton-ish puzzle game with crazy stuff. Really great game. And a bunch of others. I can't remember. I just was making 3D. Yeah.
So you were basically like a gun for hire, and now this is your first creation where you're the creative mind?
Yeah. I always knew I wanted to be, creating something mine. But before that, you have to learn your job. You have to gain skills, and that's require quite a lot of time. I mean, depending on what you want to do. I knew I wanted to do all of it, probably. But programming, I'm not a programmer. Everything else, I wanted that. I want to animate, to move, to draw, to model, and everything. So I really spent the last 5 years, working on every gig I could get, learning from everybody around me, that was the first 5 years in the industry for me.
Okay, what did you do for Encodia?
Oh, we made character design. We modeled. It was me, another friend of mine, like 15 of them, probably half of the whole character in the game.
DP Games was contracted out to do these jobs for Encodia?
Oh,
basically?
That was prior to DP Games even existing, I guess.
Oh, okay.
It was just me and Nicola finding me out on, ArtStation or Behance or Facebook somewhere.
Okay.
And it was like, hey, your stuff is cool. Want to work for a game? I was like, yeah, for sure.
That's very cool.
Yeah, we found out, we were both Italian like 2 hours after talking. Like, hey, dude, what the fuck? Why are we even talking English? Like, possiamo parlare normalmente tra di noi, quindi we started talking Italian. That was fine. We shared our stories, and Nicola is like myself 5 to 10 years in the future. Like he was already working on his game and moving forward. So the work was fine. Modeling character was fine. But really trying, to learn how he was managing to develop a game on its own. That was the most interesting part for me.
Okay.
Like I was working 8 hours a day and then trying, to learn, hey, how you do hire someone? How much did you pay for this or for that or whatever?
Right. So Nicola's kind of like your mentor in a way?
I would never say that, or we'll get so much, big hearing is my mentor. But yeah, we shared a lot of stuff, and I've learned a lot of stuff from him. So he's definitely more active than me. Like he really is into, Kickstarter and getting funded and project and advisory. And I'm just very, very lazy about it. I just want to make games and whatever.
So, well, it's funny you just said that because real quick before I do want this interview to be about you, but I'm curious. I didn't realize there was such a close connection to Encodia and Nicola over there.
Oh, yeah.
Are you as impressed as I am? I'm not a game developer. I'm not in the business. I'm kind of just on the sidelines. So are you as impressed as I am with his ability to put out game after game, quality game after game? I mean, Encodia came out, and then like less than a year later, we have Clunky Hero, and now all his social media is all about the third game. Yes,
Soul Tolerance, which is great. It's my favorite one. He knows, no offense to Encoder or Clunky Hero, he knows that perfectly. Yes, he's killing it. Like, he's never stopping, probably never sleeping. I don't know. He's texting me all the day. I have to ignore it for the most of time. Joking. Yeah. I mean, he's very, very extremely active. I don't know how he does it. I really get stressed easily. Like I want one project, work on that, and trying to have fun. And I know for a fact that trying to manage 3 projects, he has Encodia out on consoles right now. Just released the early access on Clunky Hero and working on soft tolerance. It's really a pain in the ass. Like you have to take care of a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's his output and his work ethic is very, very impressive.
Yes, it is.
So let's get into more specifically about you. I want to get to the creation of DP Games because I was curious that you'd mentioned it didn't exist when you were working on Encodia. Have you been a gamer your whole life?
Yes, pretty much. Yes. Started with, I guess, Sonic 1 on Mega Drive. It's 96 probably. It's my first game I ever had. Christmas gift for my parents. 2 months after, I was like, okay, when I grow up, I want to make video games.
Really?
Yes, and it was not that easy. It took me 30 years. But hey, better later than never.
Okay, that's fascinating. At what point did you take, I mean, maybe it was that 2 months after you played Sonic, but at what point did you take realistic, legitimate, real-world steps toward becoming a game developer?
Yeah, okay. Probably the first time I really was thinking like, okay, I should, I don't know, study or whatever, was when I was 14, and somebody lended me a copy of Final Fantasy VII, and that was huge. Like, oh, games are not just, killing and driving and whatever and jumping, are just work of arts. Final Fantasy VII for me is just a work of arts. And I was like, okay, is it possible for me, for this short Italian guy, to make video games? For us, it's always weird stuff from USA, like movies or video games. We are just making pizza for the most of the time. So I was like, okay, can I really do this for work or passion or whatever? The answer was no, just no. Growing up, I just went to the university studying economics and politics and whatever. I can't even remember that, just to get a real job, because I really lived in a small city and it was hard to, hey, I'm just trying to make video games. And that was maybe prior to the indie explosion or YouTube getting bigger. You just had nothing. Like, you had a magazine to try to figure out what's a video game. So I was like, okay, let's get a real job and whatever. I did get it, and I just realized that was not my life. Like, I was in my early 30s. Probably. And I was working as a researcher at the university, studying business and, markets, stocks, and this kind of stuff. It was so killing me from the inside. Like, okay, I can't handle it anymore. I left everything. I was like, okay, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to make something. I just, spent $60 on a graphic pen and started drawing in Photoshop. And I was terrible. And then I tried Blender and making 3D stuff. And then I worked as an illustrator. And then I tried to make something animated. I tried everything. I just wanted to be creative. And it took me years to figure out, okay, this whole process, I have to, put it somewhere. You cannot just be a creative. That doesn't mean anything. What do you want to do? Illustration, artworks, motion graphics? Got to pick something and stick to that. And I had this advice from a friend of mine who just was, looking at my stuff and said, okay, this is really good stuff, but I see nothing. I see nothing and everything. Who you are, just decide, just, blind pick something and tell everybody you're this. And so I did. I came back home, just gather all my stuff, and I was like, okay, I'm going to write on this resume that I am a game 3D artist, I don't know. And it worked. Like, a couple of months after, I got my first job as a 3D artist on a terrible game. I'm not gonna tell the name. Okay, it was terrible. But still was my first job, working with other people which were making video games. The guys were from LA. So, I also was getting started to having a call and what's a meeting and having 6 or 8 hours of time zone difference, which is crazy stuff. Today is normal for me. I'm probably always talking with someone somewhere. I have no idea, so that's fine. But it was crazy stuff at the beginning. Wow, I'm talking with guys from USA. Wow, crazy stuff. It was terrible paid, terrible stuff, terrible game. One of the best experience of my life. Because, I was working around telling everybody, hey, I'm making video games. Yeah, I'm doing it. I was just making boxes, like crates, boxes, and bottles and stuff like that. I was the most useless guy in the studio, still very happy about actually learning the job.
Well, it's all about perspective, dude. Like, what? Yes. I mean, like, what is the thing? What is the thing you think now? Like, think about the milestone now. You developed and published a video game. Yeah. Some random dude in New Hampshire, where I live, hit you up and wanted to talk to you about your very cool game. You know what I mean? What's like the next milestone you're reaching for?
It's already a work in progress. Like one of the best thing it happened to me after Summertime Madness was released. It really worked as a statement. Like funding money for a game, it's kind of hard. You have to have your knowledge, your project, and everything. Money doesn't grow on trees, so you really got to have your shit together. Today, I really look like someone which has made it once. So producer or investor are really more open to talk with the guy which has made a game on its own.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I can make something bigger next time. Yes, so I can really... Okay, it's an RPG game, open world, crazy next gen graphics. And
that's what you're making?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
There is a lot of paper. I cannot talk about that.
That's okay.
Let's just pretend this not happening.
Okay.
But I really hope we will talk about this in 6 months or 8 months when everything will come to.
Okay. I have a slightly random question, but I'm very curious about your answer. So you mentioned that job that was like killing you in your soul.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, if you can think back to the people you worked with at the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you could get them in a room, a couple of them together, and show them Summertime Madness, what do you think they would think or say?
Yeah, we knew.
Yeah?
That's it.
We knew you were into this kind of stuff?
I mean, all my life, I've always been like this. I tried everything I could. I painted and I have played music. Still today, I'm playing music every damn day. And I have tried to act or to sing or whatever. Writing, you name it. I just live this way. I like to learn stuff and try to communicate stuff. Anyway, everything is a tool. I'm not sticking to video games because video games are the best and whatever. They're just a tool. Probably in 2 years I'm making movies. So that's fine. Or playing concerts. That's fine anyway. Everything is just a tool to communicate something. I really was like this all my life. And I really feel caged, like working on numbers and Excel files and PDF. That was nothing. It was just numbers and nothing. Nothing more than that.
So what is Summertime Madness, if not nothing?
It's something. It's something madness, or someone madness, if it's mine. It's the first thing I really have done. Like when you're working as a part of a team, you are a part of something. And I was always like, okay, can I really make something on my own? Like everything from scratch. From the idea, design, project, modeling, everything I could. Yes, it turns out I can, and that's enough for me. Like I really was not caring for, hey, I'm getting sales from the game or making me rich or whatever. That was not the point. It was just an indie game from a guys, which was nobody 1 year prior to that. So I was not expecting to, sell 1 million copies. That's not realistic. I just wanted to prove myself, to prove a point. Like, can I really do it? Or I think I can do it. That's a big difference. And I knew I could do like the visual job. Making the game was actually the easiest part. Was regular daily job. Like, okay, we make a tree and we make grass. That was I was doing it for the last 5 years. But everything else, like talking to people and finding money and caring about the advisory or Facebook or Instagram or getting reviews or Steam, everything around the game. It's just not the game per se. And I wanted really to prove that to myself. Or else I was like, okay, I have to work for somebody else for the rest of my life. Maybe that's the reality.
Okay. This is all very fascinating. You're a very interesting individual. So then I mean
I'm blushing right now.
I mean that in a good way. So I'm curious about I'm curious about this idea of, and I can't help because I do it too, when you see a game and you automatically want to compare it to other games. I'm guilty of this too. I'm wondering with Summertime Madness, are there any games that act as a direct influence on you in making this game? And what would those games be?
Yes, there is one major game, and I bet everything I have, that, which is The Witness.
Okay. Yes.
First person game, puzzle game. I was like, okay, talking with the other two guys which worked with me. I was like, the early days, we are making The Witness, but with a crappy budget, crappy knowledge, and a crappy everything. Okay. That's the goal. If we can just make a crappy version of that, I'm happy. Because The Witness is just terrifying. It's incredible. So like 1% of that, I'm fine. So I've got it. So The Witness was a big influence on that. Yes, probably the biggest one.
Okay, because that game definitely comes to mind. When I saw it, I said, well, thank goodness I get to play, like another version of The Witness Blueprint, which I agree. It's probably my favorite game of all time. It's absolutely amazing. So now I'm curious. I feel like maybe it'll be the same answer. What do you think, or what have you noticed players or maybe even critics, what do they compare this game to? And do they say it's like The Witness that you've noticed?
Yeah, probably yes. It's like the first comparison you get. Yeah.
Okay. I will say, as much as I do, it gives off Witness vibes. It obviously 100% has its own visual style, which I must assume you are responsible for.
Yes.
Okay. Do you realize how beautiful and professional and not someone's first game looking Summertime Madness is? Like, do you know that?
If we talk about the game as a whole, the answer is no. It looks to me not polished, not professional, like in a good way, like you can get better at a lot of stuff in the game.
Okay.
If we strictly talk about visual, then yes. Like, I want to be honest, I really spit blood and tears on the visual of the game. It was during the first lockdown of the COVID era.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, for the next 6 months, I can stay home and work 24 hours a day. So it was. And yes, I really had a lot of attention for details about the visual. Like, I know this is my selling point. Like, this is me. I've never been working on programming stuff or, making the whole game design. I'm going to learn while I make it. But visuals, geez, this is my strength. So I have to make something compelling visual. And you got thrown that the first prototype of the game was meant just to be on the island, just on the very first part you have played. For budget reason, like, okay, I'm going to make a game on this small island where you walk around and solve puzzles. It turned out we had like 10 or 20 different locations in the end. But I was like, okay, we have to really push towards something beautiful to see. Because the gameplay will not be, and I knew that from the beginning, will not be the most interesting gameplay of the world. That's the first time, so average was the goal. Like, okay, just try to not suck about gameplay. Just something decent to play. But music and visual had to be over the top. And I can tell you, me and one of my collaborators, we spent probably 1 month, first month, just on the grass.
Wow.
Yes. In every game you can see the terrain and the grass. Just you can tell, hey, there is this grass texture over the terrain. Yep. I hate that. Like, I cannot stand that. And I was like, okay, I want this perfect blend of grass and terrain. And I want it stylized to be like Studio Ghibli. And I want the blades of wind. And I want it moving. And he was like, yeah, we can do that. But it's like we are spending 10% of our budget on grass. Yes, we are indeed. And yeah, so there was a lot of attention to to the visual of the game.
Well,
Sure.
the grass looks amazing, I must say. It
Yes.
does. It does. It looks very, very good. So I'm trying to. This is a weird interview, dude. I haven't looked at my questions yet. It's kind of. I like how free flowing it is.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the title. I put that in my questions. What's up with the title?
There's a couple of reasons. I knew I would release the game during summer due to the development cycle. So it was something summer. I knew that. Okay, summer. That's the title. And so the story takes place during summer and takes place the same day of my birthday, which is 21 July, straight in the middle of summer. And someone told me, this is a crazy idea, you're mad. And I was like, yes, perfect, that's it. So, Summertime Madness, done. And they were like, I like the song from, no, the song, it's Summertime Sadness, and it's not a thing. And I tried, to just get some attraction from somebody misspelling Summertime Sadness.
Wow. It's funny because when I think about this game, I get that song stuck in my head, and I couldn't think of what the song was. I was only saying madness in my head, but it's sadness.
Yes, it's sadness.
Okay. You literally changed one letter, so that's perfect. Yes. Perfect for SEO.
I mean, it worked for her. It works for me.
Okay,
that's fine.
If you could name the game something that had to do with the game, what would you name it? Like in the game.
This is a really interesting question. I would name it Grass. No, I'm joking. I don't know. I really have no idea. It's so much Summertime Madness for me. It's really.
I mean,
blank.
It's a great title. I remember when Nicola said he was like, "I'm going to call out this developer for the game Summertime Madness." I was like, "Excuse me, what is it? What is it called? Summertime Madness?"
Yeah, but I can give you and everybody listening a good piece of advice right there.
Yes, tell me.
It is a terrible, terrible, terrible name, marketing-wise. You want a good name? 1 word, 3 letters. Aria, ISO, Nomi, I don't know, random stuff. 4 letters, 5 letters. That's it. Summertime Madness, way too much.
Okay.
Also for everybody which is not an English speaker, it just sounds like a weird SMS stuff or something. Even for me when talking with other Italian guys, how was the game you made? Summertime Madness. Summertime Madness.
Yeah.
It's the correct Italian pronunciation for that.
Okay.
So yeah, if you want a name, don't be fancy. 5 letters works perfectly.
Okay, that's interesting. I recently played the game Omno, which is exactly what you're saying. It's 4 letters arranged in a way that those letters would never be arranged. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Long phrasing only if you're League of Legends, then you can stretch how much as you like. Everybody knows you.
Right. So I did look a little bit at some of the Steam reviews. A lot of people mentioned that the game was not launched with the Explorer mode.
Yes.
Tell me
was a big
Tell me the whole story of launching it without it and the justification for that, and then why it has been added since.
Terrible advice moment right there. If you're making a game because you want people to play the game, you maybe have to think like players and not strictly as developer. To me, the game had to have 1 mode. You have 1 hour, do it or fuck yourself. That's it. That's the game for me. It ruins all the narration of the game. Having hints or having free exploration, to me, that's terrible as storytelling. As terrible as it goes. I really was like, no, I don't want that. And luckily, I had friends at Tesser, which were like, okay, I really feel like you're trying to push me too much. Like I have to solve puzzle and I always have to take a look at the clock, and if I want to pause or just, I don't know, it's way too much pressing. And I was like, okay, maybe you're right. Let's have a more stretched version. Like the game now has a 3-hour version, 6-hour version, 1-hour version. And lastly, we were thinking about the Explorer mode. No time, whatever, just have fun. And I was against that. That was my bet at the beginning. Like, why people should even play something where you have no pressure to play against? Where's the challenge? I was that's stupid. I mean, I would never ever play a game where I can die, I can do nothing, there are no enemies. So what's the goal? What's the point? I was wrong. It turns out that the vast majority of the players just wanted to explore the game and play as much as they wanted without any time limitation or whatever, which is reasonable. I mean, now I can see that. Like, it's a game. A game has to be fun to some degree. And if you're just, beyond player's shoulder with the clock ticking, maybe it's not.
Well, I think that a timer really only, for most games, it just increases difficulty. But the nature of your game is a puzzle game. So the difficulty is kind of baked into your ability to solve the puzzles. So I will say, if there was no Explorer mode, I would definitely still play it with a timer. Like, I still think, like, regardless. But I played it in Explorer mode. I love puzzle games. And I can't remember a first-person puzzle game that I've ever played with a timer.
Yeah.
So
I can tell you.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, there is a reason for that. Like, the first prototype, as I've told you, was planning to be like a couple of location and maybe 1 hour gameplay. It was the idea. Like, okay, let's try to not overdo crazy stuff. 1 hour, it's fine. We make this small game 1 hour. And 2 months in, we were like 1 hour and a half gameplay long already. So we were, okay, we can have more than that. But at the beginning, the clock was everything. It was just an hour. So it was more like a session of game. Like, okay, I have 1 hour. Let's see if I can make it. Later on, the whole game lasts 4, 5, 6, 7 hours. So yeah, it's not that need for the clock at this point. But the whole story was already, set in stone to be very, very bound to the time and the pressure and everything. So it was like, okay, we are keeping it, but also giving the opportunity to play without. That was the safest choice we can make.
Okay. Very interesting. So how does it feel to basically, how do I put this? How does it feel to cave to the pressure of the other people? Like, you had an idea, but both players and it sounds like other developers were telling you that it wasn't the best idea. How does it feel to eventually give in to the pressures?
It's hard. It's really hard because, it's your child sometimes and you're like, no, this is mine. I don't care. It's mine, whatever. I'm doing this for me, which is true to some degree. Like, I knew I was really, really doing this for me. But still, if you're doing something for you, then keep it in your closet and play with it, what you want. If you're going to release a game on Steam, that's not for you. It's for you and for everybody out there. So it's hard sometimes, to stick to your vision, because at the end of the day, I'm doing this because I really have fun doing this. It's not about money or glory or whatever. I'm really enjoying what I'm doing. I'm one of those few guys who wakes up in the morning and I was like, yeah, time to get to work. And I was happy to get working on this. And everybody's, geez, I'm still alive today. I was really, really happy. So I was doing this for me, but still you have to learn a lesson that if somebody is trying to tell you something, you have to listen. And if it's 1, 2 times, 3 times, maybe after 10 times, you are wrong. That can be, it's your vision. Yes, your vision is wrong sometimes. That's not proving anything. So it's hard, to find balance between what you really want because you care and you just want it that way, and what will make the game valuable for players. It's really probably the most slow thing you learn during the process.
Okay. What has life been like for you since it came out? It's obviously like less than half a year ago. What have you just been patching it, preparing for your next game? What's that been like?
We just finished the porting operation. We will be on every console, on PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch on January 26, maybe, or 27, I don't know, just a couple of months. So we've been working on the porting, which was crazy stuff. But lovely, crazy stuff. But other than that, I have to be honest, I'm that type of guy which when something is completed, boom, done, next. And the day after the release, I made this patch to fix a couple of bugs and stuff. 2 days after, I was on the next project. Like, okay, let's go it. I really don't try to stick to something. I really enjoy the process, not the creation. I loved being at work on this. I'm not just staring at the game and, hey, look, it's beautiful. What have I done? No, it's done. It's the past. So what's next? That's pretty. The aftermath of the release is pretty much like when the games was not existing. It's working on something, drawing and writing and whatever, and that's the way I like it. Like there will be nothing which will stop me from doing something next. It can be a big game, crazy giant game, whatever. Moving is key. Is not sticking on what you've done.
Okay, so this is very interesting. I'm curious about, because you had mentioned earlier when you said you had kind of like this portfolio of random things you hadn't really picked. Hadn't really picked a specific thing to go after. I'm wondering, and you just said you appreciate the process more than the thing itself, but they work together, right? So let's say you made Summertime Madness exactly the way that you made it, and then on release day, video games cease to exist. Like, would you be happy with your time spent making the game, or is it about the release and actually somebody seeing it and playing it?
I would be pretty much like, okay, next. If it's the day after the release. The day before the release, I will be mad, just terribly mad at everyone and everybody. The day after, that's fine for me. When it's done, it's done.
Okay.
Really, like I said before, everything is a tool to me. Like, even those crazy software topic, like, hey, are you using Blender or Maya? Because Maya is better than Blender, and Unity or Unreal, because I don't give a fuck, to be honest. Like, whatever works for you, works for you. It's a story. It's a story you're playing or listening, if it's music, or watching, if it's a movie. Who cares? Like, literally, who cares? Just the guys working with you in the studio for technical reason. Like, okay, what are we working on? That's it. From the outside, if paper and pen could do my job, I'd use paper and pen, to be honest. That's as simple as it goes. So, it's the process. It's learning and trying to find new ways to express yourself. That's cool. It. And maybe even better than that, proving that there is always a way to do so, to express yourself. For everybody in every field. Like, if this Mr. Nobody Italian alone guy made a game on its own, so what does it mean? That everybody can do that? Yes, exactly. That's the point. It's not the game. It's not Summertime per se. It's another guy in Sydney grabbing Blender and telling, hey, maybe I can make games as well. Yes, you do. That's the whole point.
Very cool. So you mentioned you're a musician, correct?
Yeah.
Now, did you provide the music for Summertime Madness?
A couple of songs, yes. And I co-wrote another couple with Maiden, which is a great French artist, ambience music, very, very good stuff. And that covers half of the music in the game. Once again, budget reason, it's really fun to, rent a studio and record your stuff. And you realize, hey, I've spent half of the money I had just for music. So nope, can't do that. I was just, using Creative Commons music for sometimes, or buying pre-made music, which sounds terrible, really terrible. Like, hey, you got those soundtrack on market stocks? Yeah, yes, I did. That's a challenge you have to face when trying to make a game and trying to cover everything.
Okay, what about the music when you first are dropped into the painting and that fucking gorgeous music plays? What's that music?
That's from Maiden. Yes, the artist I'm working with.
Okay.
And he released this crazy ambient music compilation, which was Creative Commons. And I was like, I found it on YouTube. And I wrote him an email like, hey, dude, I know I can use your music for whatever, Creative Commons. But really, can we just talk? Maybe I want a couple of other pieces of music for the game. And he was super excited, like, yeah, let's do it. And we were, writing music and trying to send each other chords and ideas, recordings, and in the end he recorded the final pieces from, I guess, the credits, the Prague, when you're in Prague, about the night and day version, and a couple other, which I don't remember where they are, but yeah.
Well, whoever can you tell me his name again?
Oh, it's Maiden, but it's wrote like a lot of crazy letters.
Okay.
I'm gonna find it and paste it.
Okay, perfect.
Right there for you.
Because I do think
I will do that.
I think the kind of game that you made, the atmospheric, narrative-driven first-person puzzle games, very much depend on all of the things working together, I think, to create an atmosphere, from visuals to sound. And I just remember when you're first walking through the environment, that music just hit so perfectly. I was like, whoever made this game knows how I'm supposed to feel when dropped into a mysterious, visually gorgeous environment to explore. I found it extremely effective. So thank you to you for doing that, and thank you to Maiden. Or I'm sorry, tell me the name again.
Maiden. Wrote
okay.
M-Apes. I will just make sure.
Just send me the link.
The name of YouTube or whatever. Yeah. But this is great to hear because, yes, I mean, I guess I spent a lot of time on music as well, trying to find something for a perfect fit. I don't know I don't have any actual music knowledge or whatever, never studied music. It's just about colors, notes and colors. I can't tell you which chord is that chord or whatever, but everything has a color to me. And I was just trying to match the music color to the actual game colors. It was a crazy fun process to me, which was terrible for everybody else working with me. I was like, okay, it's too much yellow. And he was like, what do you mean? I don't know. It's yellow. And he was like, hey, it's a C minor chord. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. Just we have to make it more blue. And you find out that the blue is, I don't know, B sharp 7 flat chord. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Who cares? I don't know what you're saying. Is this sound, it's really stressful for everybody working with me music-wise. I know that for a fact. But I really, really, really enjoy that process. Once again, I really enjoyed the process.
I think I am starting to realize really why the game is called Madness.
Yeah. Yes.
It's starting to make sense because the sounds are colors and it's just total madness. But I dig it, dude.
Yeah.
I love the game.
Thank you.
So let's get into. I have 4 questions that I ask every developer that I get on the show. So I'm very curious to hear your answers. So tell me, what is, well, the way the question is written doesn't really apply to you, but we can adapt it. The way it's written, it says, what is a typical release day like for an indie game developer? But I would assume there is no typical release day for you, although you did work on other games. So just tell me, what's release day like for an indie dev?
For me, it was terrible. Stressing and having headache and stomachache all the time and really getting super nervous. Yes, it's stressful. Like you have all your work of 1 year or 2 years and you're just there waiting to click a button on Steam or whatever to release it. And from that moment, that thing, it's not yours anymore. It's for everybody. It's crazy. And it's so relieving, at least for me, when you click the button and you're like, oh, whatever it's done, it's done. There is a lot of stuff for developers which are like, okay, I'm going to patch the game every day and check whatever. Not me. I was just getting sure that we didn't have any major bugs. But after that, I'm free. I'm done. This is it. I was just trying to enjoy the moment. I had dinner with my family the day of the release. I can tell you that. I was like, hey, Mom, let's have dinner together. At the restaurant? No, at home. We are fucking poor. So no, let's have dinner at home. As always, maybe in 1 year we say, right now, let's have dinner at home. I just tell everybody out there to try to enjoy the moment.
What do you
just try to do that?
What do your parents think of you being a game developer?
My parents has always been the most supporting and greatest human being on the fucking planet, to be honest. They grew up with this kid which always wanted to have earrings and tattoos and long hair and long beard. I'm sure right now, but always, like crazy growing up kid. I'm different. I want to be dark and I like Marilyn Manson. Now I see that I was a terrible, kid trying to crazy ideas, and I hate school, and I was a writer writing, illegal stuff on the walls and making graffiti and whatever. It was like terrible for them. Like this kid is never gonna fit in this society one day. But still, they always told me, as long as you are not doing anything bad to anyone else, go for it. Whatever it is. We don't care about who you are, we are dating with, we just don't give a fuck. Try to be happy, don't hurt anybody else, live your life, whatever it is. Which was the fucking great advice ever. So yeah, it worked out in the end. Like I tried to be a lot of stuff in my life and took me 13 years to realize, okay, I want to make art, whatever art is. It's games, it's music, it's movies, whatever. But I can tell you that the day I got the game founded, like, okay, Mom, somebody's really investing money on my game. This is happening. She was like, yeah, I knew that you were just so fucking lazy. She was like, yes, that's actually true. So I don't know, what was the question like 20 minutes ago? I don't know.
No, it's fine. I love your answer. I had asked what your parents think about you making video games.
Yes. Video games, just, whatever. They don't even had smartphone or whatever. They're just old generation guys.
Have they seen the game, or have they like put their hands on it? Have they played it?
So my mom just tried. She's really not into technology, just was, staring at the screen like, okay, who you are? You're a painter. Where is the painter? You are the painter, so I can see the painter. Okay, Mom, it's first person. Nah, I don't like it. That's my mom revision on Steam. My father was indeed a painter for hobby.
Okay.
He has been one of, if not the biggest critique of my life. Like nothing in my life, every painting or piece of music or art I've made was better than, that's it. Like, hey, Dad, how this one looks? That's it all my life. Like, okay. But then it was, in a good way. Like, okay, keep going, let's see. I had just probably 2 or 3 pieces in my life, which my father was like, this looks good. I was like, oh my fucking, this is a masterpiece. This was going to be the greatest piece of art in history.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that when I saw the game, it was like 30 seconds in, and was like, oh, this is giving me such terrible headache. Why even people play games or why they even exist? But it looks good. I was like, oh, fuck you, that's great.
I mean, yes. Dude, you'd have to be like immune to the universal effects of art to look at Summertime Madness and not say that looks good. Like, even if you're not about video games, like, that is a pretty thing that I'm looking at, you know?
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, thank you for that much longer answer than I expected, but that was great. Thank you. So next, what is something that you want gamers to know about independent video game development?
It's harder and you get way less than what you think. This is it. It sucks. From the inside, it's a lot of money coming out from your pocket and never coming back home. Welcome to Reality 101. This is it. I mean, trying to be serious. It's really hard to make it. I mean, just do not expect to do it on the first time. This is my advice. Just do not pull your expectation in, okay, I'm doing this and this is in and out or whatever. It's not black or white. Just try to sink in the thing. Make your game, make it smaller, make it polish it. Sell it for free, for $1, whatever. Then keep moving. Always keep moving and just try to not overthink. If you're a game dev, probably you're just a nerd which loves video games. So you are doing this for fun. Never forget to have fun. If you're not having fun, do something else. It's pointless. If you're making this to make $1 million, you are in the wrong place. It's like, how much? 4,000, 1,500 games per year on Steam. You are just the 5,000, 15, whatever game dev out there. You are not making it for the market. You are making it for yourself. So fuck everything else, enjoy, and that's it.
Very cool. That's very good advice. Thank you. What now on the flip side, what is one distilled piece of advice that you would give your fellow indie game developers?
Make it tight. Like, very simple, very tight. Do not try to overextend, because really things are snowballing. Money are going out the window, time is flowing by, so just try to stick to something really simple and make it tight, smooth, and polished. People will love that. If you're giving them a 100-hour shitty experience gaming, that's not working. 30 minutes of good gaming, that's fine. So try to really stay focused on something smaller and try to grow it from the center, not from the sides. I don't know if it makes any sense. Like, start from something, get as bigger as you can, do not overextend. When you're done, you're done. You're making indie games and not crazy big games, whatever. So stay tight on whatever you want to do.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. So I have very much enjoyed this conversation, Davide. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Jared. It was great. Thank you.
My final question will be that I will ask you to please call out another indie dev that you respect and admire that you think I should get on the show, similarly to how I became aware of you because Nicola called you out in his episode. Who would you pick?
I would pick the developer of Rain on Your Parade, which is made from Unbound Creations. I don't know the name of the guy. We were together in a festival 1 year ago, and I really love it. He's showing his game and talking about the process. So I think he would really have a lot to say for our fellow listener.
Awesome. Very cool. Thank you so much. What can you tell me one more time? I could obviously look this stuff up, but what was the name you said? Rain on Your Parade, but then the name of the studio?
Unbound Creations.
Unbound Creations.
Creations, yes.
Love it. Do you know where that person is based?
Oh, no. I couldn't tell. No.
Okay, that's all right. I've had a lot of Italians on the show lately, so I'm trying to branch out a little bit, but it's cool.
Yeah, we're always trying to find a creative solution to not really work. Making video games seems the most easy one for Italians. I don't know why.
Weird. Very cool though. I have thoroughly enjoyed all the Italian games that I've played. So y'all keep it up. So all right, one more time. Thank you so much. And actually, before we go, why don't you tell everyone how they can get in touch with you, how they can get the game, where can they get the game? You mentioned it's coming out on consoles. Give us the rundown.
Yes. All right. Summertime Madness is out on Steam right now. You can grab it for PC and Mac. And it will be out on console, on PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch from January 2022, around the last week of January. And you can get in touch with me wherever. There is a couple of links, click on buttons. I'm the only guy answering your emails, so if you're talking to somebody, it's me.
Okay, beautiful. Actually, wait, let me ask another question because I'm really curious.
Yeah.
Were you involved in the porting?
Yes, yes, I was. It really depends. For everybody interested, porting can be done in two ways. Maybe your publisher is just taking the game and porting it. Like, okay, this is it. We're going to come back at you and the game is done. And you are just giving support. Like, okay, maybe we should do this way or this other way. Or can be done in a more collaborative way, which is the way I've been working on the porting, with Sometimes You, which is our publisher. And we pretty much worked together on the porting, which was really, really good for me. Once again, I've learned a lot of new stuff, like, oh, this is how a game looks on PlayStation development or whatever. So yeah, there are two ways to work on the porting. You're just giving it to somebody which is making the whole work for you, or just collaborating with your publisher or whatever.
How does the game look on Switch?
I see you really know what you're talking about. So yeah, I can tell you, porting on PlayStation is okay. Like, the game is the same. You just have to arrange a lot of texture or whatever, but it's pretty much, same hardware. PC, PlayStation, same level. Switch was the first time we tried to play the game on Switch. We were at 6 frames per second. Like, you could have a coffee between 2 frames and still have time to do something else. It was the hardest part of the porting. And everything was cause of visual. Like, a lot of stuff had to be redone or adjusted, and I was crying like a baby. No, I want the game to look good on Switch. No, we can just not cut off the grass or the trees or whatever. In the end, I can tell you that is very, very close to the one you have played on PC, like extremely close. You don't have, crazy stuff like, oh, I can see reflection in the water. Pfft, forget it. Water's just blue. That's fine. Go. But everything else, it's here. And feeling the colors, the whole thing, it's pretty much very solid.
Yeah, I think I wasn't trying to put like a negative light on it. I was just like, I think because the game has a very distinct visual style, it's not going for photorealism. I think it will translate quite well onto Switch, because when I started this podcast, I was playing the majority of the games on my Switch because it has a very healthy like indie game scene on the Switch. I think it'll do very well there. But yeah, I guess that's it. I was just very curious about it because, like, I know that it's like pretty like graphically intense, So I was curious how it would look on the Switch, but I think it'll look very, very nice. I think.
Oh, it depends on how we have done it. I hope so. Like, I really am with you. Like, I could clearly say this game being a hit on the Switch.
Yeah.
Like, playing it, on your Switch while your headphones on, that's great. Yeah. Summertime Madness really works on that. I really hope it works. Like, right now I have this sort of pre-testing alpha build for Switch. It seems to work fine, but players will tell.
Right.
But the day after the release, I'm done. So
Yeah.
whatever.
Exactly. All right. Davide, I can't thank you enough. I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. I've taken up too much of your time. So now I will say thank you again and goodbye. I hope you have an amazing day over there in the south of Italy.
Yes, this was great, Jared. Thank you for having me there. And it was a super fun and pleasant talk. And you are great. And yes, it was my pleasure to be there. And I really hope to talk to you someday.
Yeah. Well, that wraps up today's episode. Huge thank you to Davide once again. Please check out Summertime Madness. I really, really, really love this game. I think visually it stands out among the best looking first-person puzzlers out there. I mean, honestly, truly special in my opinion. Find Davide and DP Games on Twitter at DP Games Inc., as well as on the web at summertimemadness.com. You can buy Summertime Madness on PC currently with Switch, Xbox, and PlayStation ports coming in late January of 2022. This is the last time I'll say it. The game is incredible, and I recommend it wholeheartedly. Okay, you can find me on Twitter at IndieGameINTL, and you can email me at sumadrepodcasts@gmail.com. Email me or tweet at me if you would like to sponsor this podcast, or, of course, if you have a suggestion for an amazing guest. One more massive thank you to Davide, and an infinite amount of thank yous of an infinite size to you for listening. All right, bye-bye.